Hello everybody, today I wanted to do a little impromptu video on color temperature. It's something that I was always wondering about when I first started collecting flashlights, and some people have asked about it. Which ones do you prefer? Which color temperatures you prefer? Which LEDs you prefer? And some of the characteristics of the different LEDs I have. So I'll also go through some of the different uses for warmer or cooler lights, and here I've got them separated out. So I've got a few lights here that are more in the warm range, so about 4000 K and below. These two are about 5000-ish K or just a little bit above 5000, so I'd rank them around the neutral end, but they're probably slightly cooler still. And these ones here are 6500 K, so they're pretty cool and pretty much as cool as you can get them. 6500 K. I'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages, what I use each of them for as well, so that you can make up your mind on what's best for you. I've also got my Opple Light Master Pro here. So this, as you can see, it's connected to my phone and it measures a few different things. It measures the lux, so kind of the intensity of light. Then you've got the CCT here, correlated color temperature, okay, and also the rendering index, which is over here. We'll just move it out of the glare. So yeah, how accurately you can identify colors with that particular light source. And you want to aim for something, ideally if you've got a job that requires you to identify colors well, you want something that's about 90 or minimum 80, but 90 and above. So you can see the light that I have on my desk, the ring light. I bought this one specifically to have a pretty high rendering index, so that when I record the videos, everything appears accurately, colors appear accurately, so I don't have to go and correct them too much in post-processing. So here we go. I'm not sure exactly where to start, but I think I'll just go from this end here. So you can see here on this side, these lights here are the warmer ones, and they come with, well, these two anyway, they come with Nichia 519 LEDs. It's a bit difficult to see the one on the left. I'm trying to turn it a bit, but basically they produce up to 1000 plus lumens. Okay, and these Nichia 519s, and I think they'd replace the 219s with these in most flashlights, they have a really high rendering index, and they also come from a range of different colors, so you can get them as low as 2700K and all the way up to 6000 if I'm not mistaken. So out there on the market, there's really not a whole bunch of choices for consumers out there. If you want to get a more warmer looking LED, these are the ones that are more common, but they're still relatively difficult to come by with most manufacturers. So often you're looking at specialized flashlights or with Convoy. That's why I think Convoy is such a great deal. A lot of the time they have a lot of these LEDs in different color options as well, so and at a good price. And this one here is my Ray Light Pineapple Mini, so that also comes with the 519. So this one's 4000K, this one's 3000K. I'll show you the difference. I've also got this light here. This is the LED Lenser P7 Work UV, and it's 4000K, so roughly the same color temperature as each other. So I'll show you, I'll turn the light off so that you can see the actual color a bit better. And here you can see from above, it's about 4000K, and the rendering index is about 94 and above. Okay, maybe just turn it on a bit lower so you can see that color. So you can see there's a bit of warmth in that flashlight, in the beam, I mean, a little bit of warmth. And let's turn on this one as well. This is my Ray Light Pineapple Mini. Point that down, and you can see it's got a rendering index of 97. Maybe if I kind of just move it a little bit over closer like that. And the thing is that it also changes a little bit between modes. You'll find that it fluctuates slightly, okay, but it shouldn't really fluctuate too much with these Nichia LEDs. They tend to be really, really good across all ranges. They hold their color temperature, but that's not always the case, and I'll show you why later on. But with these LEDs, you're completely fine. Then we've got this one here, which is my 3000K flashlight. This is the Convoy S2 Plus, and yeah, it comes with the Nichia 519A as well in it. High rendering index 97, and you can see here 3000K on the left of my meter readings. So if we were to compare the 3000 to say the 4000, and I'm hoping the camera, I'm just looking at the video, it looks roughly accurate. And when you've got the 3000K next to the 4000, it even makes the 4000 look so much cooler. Okay, but you can see the difference. See, 3000, then you've got 4000. Okay, and why would you want to get a flashlight with, you know, a color temperature of say 3 to 4000 or even lower? I mean, I don't actually have a flashlight that's 2700K. I think that's way too orange, but why would you want one, you know, that is warmer? So basically, there's a few advantages. One, you often find, well, I find, and a lot of people find that, especially when you're using flashlights at night, if you have one that has a beam that's a lot warmer, it's just easier on the eyes. Another advantage is if you live in an area and maybe there's a lot of fog or just a lot of I don't know, like dust and stuff in the air. I find that when you're using a warmer flashlight, it doesn't pick up on all that dust and all that fog very easily, so you can cut through a lot of those areas and increase your visibility of an area. You know, if you're using a flashlight that's got 6500K sort of beam, one of the things you'll notice is that it really picks up a lot of the dust in the air, and that's often the case when you look at those LEP flashlights, because a lot of LEP flashlights, they have a beam that's around 6000 plus K, and you can see that it looks like a lightsaber in the night, and that's because it's picking up on all the particles and stuff that's floating around in the air. But you don't get that issue with a warmer LED. A disadvantage of having a warmer flashlight is that it often doesn't produce as many lumens as the same LED in a cooler tint. So that's just something that you have to sacrifice. I really like using these warmer lights at night, especially, you know, indoors. I'm going around the house if it's quite late as well. If I've got a beam that's just too cool, it's quite irritating on the eyes, can get in the way of you falling asleep. And yeah, so this is why I prefer using these mainly for indoor lights, outdoors as well for specific purposes. So if it's a foggy sort of day, or I just want to make sure that I've got 100% visibility, you know, while using a flashlight, these tend to be really good. But again, they don't produce as much light. So these two lights in the center, basically got the Sofern IF25A and the Spires M4. Measured these a while back. They're about 5,000 or so. Let me just lower the light for a moment. And just get that a little bit further up. This light's got quite a lot of throw. Okay, so 5,100. I'm just seeing what's the lowest. So you can see here with the Spires M4, it's about 5,100K. It's got a low rendering index there. Okay, and let's turn that off. We've got the Sofern IF25A, and you know, it's 5,300. And this is the fascinating thing as well. When you increase the amount of current flowing through the LED, some LEDs will actually change their color tint. So very, very slightly. And on turbo, it actually goes a lot cooler. So now it's kind of gone to 5,500. I'm trying to see what's the highest I can put it without my meter maxing out. So starting to go 5,600. Okay, it gets much more cooler as you raise the current, but if you put it down lower, it starts, you can see here, it starts going lower to 5,300. Another thing is that the correlated color temperature is only part of the information and part of the deal. There's a little calculation that you can do, the delta UV, where it uses the X and Y coordinates here. And it tells you whether that flashlight beam is a little bit more on the greenish side, a greenish tint, or towards the kind of magenta side. So often you will get LEDs, depending on which one you choose, that actually deviate a bit in terms of color tint and look a bit greenish or what have you. And this is one of those LEDs. This is this light here has an SST20, 4 SST20 LEDs in there. So essentially these are known to be kind of greenish. This one here, I can't remember what it was called. I think it's called the Yiding 5050 LED. And yeah, it has a little bit more of a warmer tint, but again, slightly on the greenish end. I've got color blindness, so red-green color blindness, so I can't really tell the greenish tint all that much, but I know a lot of people do notice that. The SST40 also produces a greenish sort of tint, but SST40s tend to be more cooler as well. So these ones are great in terms of, if you want a more balanced beam, so something that's not too cool, not so warm. Okay, it's kind of like your middle ground, compromise to the not so warm and then not so cool either. But again, you will want to have a look around, and especially if you are using it to identify colors and what have you, you might want to get something like the 519A in the 5000K, and that will ensure that you've got a high rendering index in there. So these are just a couple that I have, but yeah, they still allow you to see details. I find that when you're using the 6500K flashlights, it really washes out a lot of detail. As I go around 4000, 3000 to 4000, I can see much more detail, shadows. I'm really not so sure if you go down to say 2700K what the effects will be. I've just not had the desire to buy an LED that is that warm. These ones here on the right, I've got a new flashlight recently. This is the Next Torch E51C, and I've got also the Workhorse FC12. Now this one comes with an SST40 LED, and this one uses an SFT40 LED. So they are basically quite similar to each other, except this one's de-domed and produces more lumens. Okay, this is more of a flooder flashlight, whereas this is more of a thrower. So you can see there's a kind of orange peel effect in there, and this one is more of a smooth reflector, so it's designed to throw a little bit further, but they both produce pretty much the same colored beam. So let's turn off the flashlight and we'll do a quick measurement. Okay, so this is the E51C. Okay, and you can see it is measuring roughly 6,300. And if I actually increase that the mode a little bit further, okay, let me just bring this back a bit. Okay, see, it goes up very, very slightly, and on turbo it actually goes to 6,500. So there's a bit of tint shift on the different modes. Okay, and that's common with these luminous SST20, SST40 LEDs. This here is my Workhorse FC12. Okay, see how the beam as well is very, very focused. You can see that hot spot easily right in the middle, whereas if you got this other one here, it's a bit more diffused. The hot spot's larger. I'm holding them both around the same distance from each other, FC12 here and the E51C on the right. This is my Workhorse FC12. Just trying to hold it in the same spot. It's got a very cool tint to it, 6,500 and above 6,600. compared to my Next Torch E51C, which is measuring 6,300. So there's even a slight difference in color temperature here. And I find, especially when I ramp up both of these flashlights, they will increase the color tint even beyond 6,500 at times slightly. As I was mentioning before, the advantages of having a high color temperature flashlight, so a cooler flashlight like this, is that normally produces a lot more light relative to an emitter that is warmer. Okay, so if you're looking for just maximum lumens, you want to get something like these two, or you want to get a larger flashlight with a whole bunch of these emitters in them. I always find with the large flashlights from Immelent, even the SBT 90.2, they're all very, very cool LED beams. For some reason, I've just never seen any throwers that use more warmer beam, probably because it's just harder to get as many lumens out. It costs more money to put more emitters in and to get the same amount of throw as, say, something like this one. So again, that's just something to keep in mind. Another thing, like I mentioned before, is that I do notice that the colors are very washed out. When you go on the bluish end of the spectrum, it's odd sometimes. I have an Immelent MS03 that has 3 XHP 70.2 LEDs in it, and that produces very, very cool white beam, and it's a flood beam as well. When I turn it on, it's so odd. It's as if everything just loses all its shadows and colors. Everything just looks kind of bland, and you can still see what's going on very well, but in terms of identifying colors and just how pleasant that beam looks, it's not the best. Okay, but with that said, it's very practical. I do notice another thing though, these beams, these flashlights with these cooler LEDs, they throw a great distance, especially if you have an LEP. A lot of LEPs do have cooler tints as well. They throw a great distance, but sometimes it's difficult to actually see what's going on in the distance due to the beam just lighting up all the particles and stuff in the air. So sometimes you might have to illuminate an object from the side. So maybe an object's just straightforward. I'll hold the light to the side and go in that way so that I'm not looking directly through the beam. So that's something that you want to keep in mind as well. I'll put a website down below in the links if you want to read a little bit about Delta UV, and that's just a little bit of additional knowledge, and that website will calculate the Delta UV from the X and Y coordinates here. It gives you more information, like I mentioned before, so whether that flashlight is more on the greenish or on the magenta end, or just right in the center on that line, which makes it really the perfect LED. So have a look through that if you want to learn a bit more. I don't want to go into that much detail here. I've also taken some beam shots using cool and warm LEDs. So hang around till the end of the video and you'll be able to see the difference of those in real life. In terms of what color temperature that I go for myself when I'm carrying around a flashlight, I actually tend to carry around these two here. Okay, so basically I prefer having a flashlight that can produce a lot of lumens where required. If I, for most purposes, I just want to illuminate an area. I want to see what's going on in there. I want it to be able to blast those lumens out if I need it, and also be able to function relatively well on a low mode, so even a moonlight mode. It does look very cool, and at night time, say if I'm around the house, I'm probably not going to use these lights. I'm going to use these ones here in the cooler spectrum. But when I'm going out or when I want a flashlight for general use outside, I actually tend to pick up the ones on the cooler spectrum. They produce, like I said, they produce more lumens. I don't mind the color temperature. I don't mind the color temperature as long as it does its job as a flashlight. And these ones here, these are ones I take out with me as well at night. Again, because they do produce more lumens than these ones here to the left. I don't need to really recognize little details or be fussed about the color, recognizing colors and things at night as well when I'm using flashlights. So that's for my specific usage though. So it may differ for you. I hope I've covered everything, I guess, from a beginner's and general perspective. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you like the video, would appreciate if you click the like button so that I can get my videos out to more people, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos. E51C. E51C. Next torch, E51C. E51C. Very nice white looking beam, as you can see. Easily hits those trees in the background and produces significantly more light than the C2 and the S2 Plus. Nice spill. This is the medium mode. And low. High again. I'm quite surprised that it doesn't seem to be ramping down too quickly. Not that I can notice anyway. S2 Plus. S2 Plus. S2 Plus. Got the S2 Plus. Okay. Low. And just slowly ramping up. Okay. That is the highest mode. And as you can see, it does have a nice warm tint to everything. It does hit those trees in the back, but also just tint them. A lot of spill.